Alright, welcome to part 5. I think this is going to be kind of wrapping some things up here in the tutorial, and then afterwards you'll probably have an opportunity to add some stuff to this game that we've created together. So far we have some dragons, we have Link, we can shoot in directions, we worked on sprite animations, did a lot of different things here. Just gonna add a couple extra things with some sprites. What I want you to do is let's create a sprite, and if you remember in the resources there was some like treasure chests in there, so I want to use that. So we're gonna hit edit sprite, and we're going to add, I always forget, add from strip or create from strip. Let's do one of those. And let's see, there's a tree, we had water in there, we didn't use that. Treasure chests, let's try that. So the idea that I wanted to have here was simply that we could maybe collect some objects or something like that. And so I'm going to make a couple different treasure chests, and you can make them animated if you want. I'm not going to do that here. We're just going to do some simple stuff. So I'm going to grab just like one image here, and let me just grab one of these treasure chests, and I'm going to, I don't know, grab this blue one right here. So I'm going to make the image width, let's go 50, 50, and 50. And I'm just going to grab one of these to use. I think that's good. We'll say OK there. We got one of those images. We're going to crop it or trim it. That should be good enough. We're going to say, oh, well, that's kind of big. I might scale that down. So let's scale that to smaller. Maybe make it like 75. And trim that again. Alright, and we'll say OK, and let's say this is sprite SPR, and we'll just say, treasure. And the center, we'll change the center there, we'll say OK. Let's make an object for that as well, so create object, obj, treasure. And make that treasure chest there, and we will say OK for now. Okay, so let's put a little bit of a goal onto our adventures, and let's say that my first goal is to collect treasure, and I'm going to opt to make the treasure sort of kind of randomly get left behind by, if we kill one of these dragons, then there's a chance that there would be a treasure that's left behind. Okay, that's just one option. It's one idea. So I'm actually going to spawn these little treasures from this dragon right here. So we're going to go to dragon and go to the step function, and actually, it is not in the dragon object. I forgot. Is it in the fireball? Nope. Is it in Link? No. Oh, I forgot. It's going to be in the collision, of course. Yeah. So go back to dragon. Go to the collision with the bullet. Right. And when we collide with the bullet, it's going to say if the dragon health is less than or equal to 0, this is where we destroy the instance and we create an explosion. So we could also maybe just spawn a treasure right here that we collect. I'm going to put just another layer of complexity on here and just kind of randomize a treasure chest. So if we get a dragon, then there's a chance that it leaves behind some sort of object. And we're only going to have maybe like one object here. So inside of this if statement, I'm going to put a randomizer. So I'm going to randomly kind of have a chance here. Let's go to control, and we're going to roll the dice and kind of put it inside of this block. And now this is just like a normal dice roll. So, you know, we can just think in terms of like 1 out of 2, like 50% chance or something like that. We could create a lot of different object collection and say like, well, if this is a really rare object, then I could say it's 1 out of 10 or something like that. Like 10% of the time I'll get this really rare object. I'm just going to leave it with 2 sides here. So 1 out of 2. So there's a 50% chance that this is going to be triggered. So I'm going to say OK on this. Now, I want the destroy instance to be above this, and also the create explosion to be above this. But this dice roll is going to be at the end of this first block. And I'm going to create another little sub-segment here. I'm going to put another start and end. So it really looks like this. The code is if the dragon's health is less than 0, so if the dragon dies, then we'll start this block right here from line 4 to line 10. We're going to destroy it, we're going to create an explosion, and also we're going to roll the dice and say like, is it going to leave something behind? So if we get if this is triggered, 50-50 shot, then I will create the object. So go to objects, and we'll put in a create instance of a treasure relative to where it was at 0, 0. So that's what we will start with. And then we want link to collect those things. So go to link. We're going to add a collision to the treasure. So if it collides with the treasure, then we are going to delete the treasure. So we're going to trash that, the other. We're going to say other. And then we also want to keep track of how much, treasure we have. It could be anything. It could be different inventories that you have, different, weapons that you have, different things that you've collected along the way. Okay? So we're going to destroy that, and then we're going to set a variable. I don't have a variable yet, but let's go ahead and create one. So we're going to set a variable, and this is only for link. So this is a local variable or object variable just for link. And I'll say, let's call this treasure. And we're going to set it, we're going to add 1 to it. So I'm going to hit relative to what it was. We're going to basically add 1 there. Say OK. Now again, I like to, in the create, I like to set all the variables here. So set the variable. I'm going to set this up as treasure and set it equal to 0. Not relative there, just set it equal to 0 to initialize this link variable, and then we'll say OK. And then that should be it. Now, maybe we also want to draw that to the screen. So I might go to draw GUI, and I'm going to draw that variable. Let's draw the variable the treasure to the screen, and I'm going to leave it at 0, 0 and leave it like that. I'm also going to try to do, wonder if I could do this. This is just going to be a test here real quick. Actually, let me test it. I won't put it in the video. Alright, so just looked up a couple things here. So I'm going to draw this to the screen. Basically, I'm drawing a string to the screen. So I'm going to draw the treasure on the top left of the screen so I can see how much treasure I have. But I also want to preface that with the actual word treasure. So I'm going to say like double quotes treasure, colon, and then I'm going to hit quotes again. Normally what I can do in a lot of programming languages is I can combine this text all into one string, if you will, or all into one text if I just do a plus. And so I'm going to say like treasure, and then I'm going to add to it the actual variable treasure, which GameMaker will say, all right, what is the value of treasure? Is it 0, 1, 2, 3? You know, that's a number, and it will like put it in there, and it will combine all that together in one. Normally that works. If it's not working in your GameMaker, which it wasn't in mine, I found out that you may need to explicitly convert this variable into text by using something called a string function. So you would go like this. You'd say string parentheses around that variable treasure. And so essentially what that does is it takes that variable treasure, converts it explicitly into text, and then it combines it into this text over here. So it's kind of a weird way to get that all to work. You don't have to, but I think it just kind of looks nice to put a little extra text in the beginning there. So I'm going to say OK. Also, if I don't think I showed this before, but you can switch the color as well. So if I want, before I draw, you know, this text to the screen, I can switch the color. If you just go to settings, I can switch my color. I can switch my font. I can switch, what is that? Set full screen. Ooh, that's kind of cool. But I'm just going to go to this palette right here, and so I'm going to do this and set the color to, I don't know, yellow, and say OK. And delete this right here. So I changed the color to yellow, and then I'm drawing that treasure to the screen, and that should work. So let's add one more thing here. Let's say that if we get a certain amount of treasure, then we win. Let's make a simple kind of end scenario here. So Link, if he does get a treasure, so if he collides with the treasure, why don't we check to see how much treasure we have? So we'll go to control, and we will test a variable. Right? So we're going to set treasure to 1, and then let's say something like, let's test treasure, and let's see if we have greater than, equal to 5, or greater than or equal to 5. I guess we could just say equals, but I'm just going to say if I get 5 treasures, then, you know, this could spawn off some kind of win screen. It could go to the next level. It could give us, you know, some sort of ability. I don't know. I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to say something like, just as a placeholder, we're going to make a little dialogue message box, which again, I don't think we've showed this one either. But if you go to, let's see, main 2, there's a little button here for, this is a little, I think it just says show message. It's right here. Or it says display message. So this is kind of like a little pop-up box. It'll actually pause the execution of the whole game, and it will bring up like a text box of which you have to confirm that you read it. Like you'll say OK. So I'm just gonna say like, you won. You know, you can use this for a lot of things though. So let's test this out. You can kind of see what happens. So now, as I play this, you can see, ooh, I'd probably want more contrast there. So maybe I should have left it as black, but whatever. So I have treasure. I'm going to go ahead and try to collect without dying. Try to collect some of these guys. Hopefully I didn't make it too hard. So I got 1 treasure. Ooh, I may have made my game too hard. So there's treasure 1. Oh my goodness. I have too many dragons. I should have kept, oh! And one thing that I'm noticing here is I should probably make it so I can shoot the fireballs so they don't hit me as well. That would be an option. So, of course, you're going to have, this comes with testing, that you're going to have to change your game up, and you want to make it so it's not insanely difficult to beat, but it's also not, oh my goodness. Okay, we're going to have to make some changes here. Let's make the win game. Let's make the win game. Or actually, there's a couple different ways to do this. I'm going to go to link, and I'm going to go to colliding with the fireball. I'm just going to subtract like 2 from my health instead of 10. So it won't do so much damage to me. That should allow me to test a little bit better. Alright, here we go. Let's find some dragons, and you should just test your program as well. I got 2 treasures now. I got 3. This is a little intense. Too many dragons, too many fireballs. There's 4, and let's see if I can win this game. Didn't get one there. Got it. You can see what happened. So a dialog box popped up. The whole code is kind of frozen. I have this box. It says you won. You can imagine what you can do with this as well. So if you're, you know, some of the examples that we've done is just kind of like these fighter games where you're shooting and you're trying to destroy enemies and stuff like that. But you can use, you know, you could use a simple dialog box for a lot of things. So just for confirmation of things, you could, maybe you're doing more of like a walking around type of exploration type of game where you have to talk to different people. And when I get close to, you know, someone, then a person talks to me or asks me a question, and I can sort of respond to it. Maybe I can do an input box where I type in an answer, or you know, something like that. But that's a really easy way to just, you know, confirm something on the screen or give more information, is that display box. Okay, so I'm going to say OK on that, and that is working within our game. Alright, so that's how I win this game right now. Pretty simple win screen, but we have a lot of pieces in here that we can use, and we have to kind of like turn up and down the dials of some of these parameters, like too many dragons right now. We can always fix that later. We're gonna add one. I think we have time for like just one more thing we can add. I'm gonna make one more. Let's go ahead and make one more treasure. Let's do like a kind of like a rare treasure. And so let's make one more sprite. Create a sprite. SPR, and let's call this, instead of treasure, this is gonna be like a, I'm gonna call it a crate. Sprite crate. I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to add it from a strip, and I'm going to use the same thing that I had before, and I'm going to select a different one. I'm going to select one of these red ones right here. So I'm going to grab one of these. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to trim this, and then say OK on this. Center it. And there's a sprite. I'm going to create an object for that sprite. So I'm going to say SPR, and I'm going to call it or not SPR, OBJ object crate, and I'm going to select the sprite and say OK on this right now. And we can just add another crate. So if I go back to dragons, where we kind of kill the dragon, which is over here, right? So we have a 1 in 2 chance, right, of letting this treasure out. So, all right, so we got a 1 in 2 chance of rolling this. If that doesn't trigger a treasure, I guess, you can roll the dice again. what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an else statement in here. So again, it gets, if you've programmed before, sometimes these blocks can look a little bit strange, having all this stuff in there. But essentially and then after that else, let's put in a start and an end block with that else. Right, so basically what I think will happen here is we're going to roll the dice. If this is true, right, if it actually triggers this 50% chance and gives a treasure, then it does the treasure. And it won't, then it won't do this else statement. If this doesn't work out and we don't roll the dice correctly, then it will run the else statement. Now inside the else statement, I could roll the dice another time. I guess this is just the way that I'm thinking about it. I'm going to roll the dice inside of here and maybe say, so if I didn't get a treasure there, let's maybe say 1 out of every, 5. Like maybe there's a 20% chance. This will be more of a rare object. So if that happens, right, then I'm going to create one of those crates. So I'm going to go objects and I'm going to put it underneath here. I'm going to put this as a crate and say it's relative there. Now I could have put another like start and end block within this one. I know it's getting kind of crazy. I think that should work. It's one way to do it. So it will once in a while give us a crate object. And what is that crate going to do? What I want the crate to do is kind of give me a more powerful laser or more powerful weapon here. So I'm going to go back to link. I'm going to go back to link and I'm going to make a collision for the crate. If I hit the crate, then what's going to happen here? And we'll have to maybe create one more variable. We'll have to kind of remember the fact that we have some sort of special weapon or special crate. So I'm going to make this, so if I get one of those crates, that I will change a variable. So we're going to change a variable, set a variable, and I'm going to call this weapon. I'm going to switch the weapon variable to 1. Let's try that. And then I'm going to destroy the crate, of course. So we're going to get rid of the crate, destroy it. I think that's it. So we made another variable. I'd probably go inside create as well and initialize that variable too. So set the variable for link or weapon. Let's say the default weapon is just like 0, right? So set it equal to 0. And I only want this. So when I get a crate, then it changes weapon to 1. Right? I'm just going to use a number here to make it happen. And then I want this to happen for maybe, I don't know, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, and then the weapon will go back to like 0. So I'm going to go back to crate, and so I'm going to set the weapon to 1 if I get a crate, and then I'm going to make an alarm here. So I'm going to make a little timer. So let's go back to timer, and I'm going to set the alarm. I don't think I'm using alarm 0. I feel like I might have used an alarm 0 in a different part, so maybe I'll just use a different one just in case. I'll use alarm 1, and I'm going to say like 5 seconds that I'll have this little, special weapon. So that'd be like 30 times 5. Like maybe 150 steps. And then I'll say OK. And then in the alarm 1, so in alarm 1, I'm going to set the weapon back to 0. So I'll go to weapons and I'll say weapon is now back to 0. that's it. So what else do we need to do here? Kind of have to create a special weapon. So let's say okay on this. We're going to have to just create a couple more things. We're going to make a different bullet. So go to your sprites, and you're going to duplicate this bullet right here. Kind of keep it the same. So SPR bullet, we'll say 2. We're going to center this, and we're going to edit the sprite. The only thing we're going to change here is we'll just make it, if we go in here, let's use this little pencil thing. Go in here and make it a different color. So I'm just going to try to see if I can make this red. So if I'm going to use the paint bucket here and use red, see if I can make it like that. That's good enough for me. I'm just going to make it a different color. So I'm going to say okay. That's going to be my special weapon, and we'll say okay on that. I'm going to make an object, create an object. Actually, let's not create an object. Let's duplicate an object, because we already have the normal bullet here. And so I basically want it to have the same behavior. And we could probably do this a little bit more efficiently than making a whole new object. We could probably just change the color, but let's duplicate this bullet. Let's call it bullet 2. Change the sprite to bullet 2. And everything should be the same. Okay, so I'm going to say okay on that. And the bullet, and get rid of all these. So I have bullet 2. And then let's go back to let's go to link here. Let's go back to link. And basically let's go to the space bar when he shoots bullet. We have to alter this. So when we press spacebar, we need to check what weapon we have. So we'll add a couple if statements here. So we're going to go to control, and we're going to test. We're going to check out test the variable weapon. So we're going to say if weapon is equal to 0, then I'm going to put my start end blocks in there. We're going to create a normal bullet and do that. And then if the weapon is equal to 1, we will create the other bullet. Create an instance of this object, and this will be bullet 2. And so that will take care of that. And then what else do we need to do? So the only other thing, we're going to have to go to the dragon and make a collision here. And we're going to take away more health. That's really the only difference, is taking away the health. Alright, so go to dragon. We already have a collision with we already have a collision with the object. This might be repetitive, but let's do it anyway. I'm going to duplicate the event, basically make the same thing, and make a collision for bullet 2. So you can see, what happened here was I have a collision with bullet, which had all this stuff in it, which basically got rid of took away stuff from the dragon, and then checked to see if the dragon was dead, and then left a possible crate behind. Bullet 2 has the exact same thing. The only thing we're going to change is we want to change the dragon health to like minus something bigger. I don't even remember what the dragon health was, but let's say it's -5. I think the dragon health was 5. So maybe this will probably take out the dragon in one hit. So I'm going to say -5 to this. And it's still going to have the same behavior of, you know, if the dragon dies, then it's still going to go through that process. All right. Let's test our code and see if we made any progress. So I'm going to play this. And right now I just have like the normal laser here. And then I need to find some dragons. So I got one chest. I basically should have to kill like 5 things to get the special one. Oh, so there it is. So I get this. Oh, my thing completely. I collided with it, and that's funny. The sprite, the object completely disappeared. So I got to figure out what happened there. So Link, when we collide with the sprite, I can see what I did there. Hopefully you didn't do the same thing. Destroy the instance. I'm pretty sure I destroyed Link. That's not a happy crate there. We should destroy the other, which would be the crate. So let's retest this and see if this is fixed. Find a crate. Find a dragon first. Got one. I'll wait for my chance here. Well, I won. I don't want to win. I want to see if I can get a crate. Oh, so I got the crate. No, I don't see the thing coming out. And now I went back to normal. So something didn't work there, but the timer worked. Let's see if we can find that issue. So let's go back to the space bar. For a Link, go back to Link, go to spacebar. If weapon is equal to 1, we create an instance of bullet 2. Did we not make that relative? No. Must be late. We got to make that relative. Okay, you should go ahead and test that. I'm not going to play the full video and test it right now, but make sure that that works. And that is going to be it for this tutorial. There's a few more things that we could have put in there, but I think that's all we're gonna cover. So it did work with the special weapon if you tested it out. Of course, it doesn't last for that long, and it may have taken a little bit too long to get it because it was basically kind of like 1 out of every 10 you would get it. So the next thing that you're gonna do, you're gonna extend this out, and most likely I'll want you to first of all adjust these parameters so that this first level is adjusted to your liking, so that maybe you're switching how many dragons there are, how fast they're shooting, switch that up a little bit. But that ends part 5, I think, and that's going to be it for this, and that's it.